What's going on, moms and dads? This is the Fade You Podcast, episode 165, here to talk some NFL Week 9. Thanks for joining us, whether you're watching on Twitter, maybe you're watching on YouTube. Glad you're with us to preview another week in the NFL. After Week 9, we'll be halfway through the regular season, which is crazy. But here we are. My name is Matthew James. Got some of the crew, most of the crew with us. We got Chris Duke here pulling into somewhere to get a beverage, so no surprise there. We got Kmart with us. We got Neil, the bucket boy, here. We don't have Joe. Joe is working, traveling, gambling, getting smashed in Las Vegas. So I think we're all a little jealous of Joe, right?
Oh, yeah.
Chris, has Joe been on a couple heaters? Is that what we're hearing?
Yeah, I guess he's just been absolutely murdering the, what has he been playing? The high card. He's got some 6-card flush. He's out having $2,000 steak dinners. God bless him. We're all jealous. Having all kinds of old fashions.
Yeah, Joe's living it up in Las Vegas. So good for Joe. We don't have him today, but we do have his pick. So let's move on and start talking about Week 9. SuperContest update. Everybody's still in pretty good shape. Nobody's under 50%. We did have some rough weeks last week. Joe's entry went 1-4. Kyle and Neil, your entry was it 2-3? So SuperContest update. Kmart and Neil bringing up the rear at 21-18-1. Still fine. Still fine. Decent.
Imagine bringing up the rear.
I gave my team a 5-0. They just didn't want to listen to me last week.
Kmart did. Kmart, all his likes and leans were spot on.
Do you want to talk about it, Kmart? How much people?
I don't think we have enough time for that. But I mean, for everyone to know, I was so adamant before I was like, guys, I like Packers more than Bears. Like please. And we took out Niners, put in Giants, that day as well. And what was the other one? I don't remember. Or no, my apologies. We took out the Niners and put in Detroit, even though I liked them. So, a win for a loss. And then I was adamant about the Seahawks over the Giants. So that was kind of oh, well, what are you going to do?
Chris talks about it all the time, how these picks contests to narrow what you like down to 5 is so difficult. How do you make sure you don't take out a lean that ends up being a winner and putting in a loser in its place? These pick 5 contests are so tough.
It's tough with 4. I think 2 is probably. I mean, Matt, you do it with 4. I don't know how you guys are doing so well. Like maybe because you're all brothers and you share a brain, but man, Neil and I were cruising for a minute there, but now I don't know. Maybe we got to start drinking together or something. We need some cohesion.
Well, you guys are the only 2 that have gone 5-0 twice, right?
Yeah, we've gone 1-4 twice, 2-3 twice. I mean, we've literally only had 3 weeks where we went over 500.
Chris and Joe have both had a 5-0. They're both sitting at 25-15, so only 4.5 back of the overall leader. And then I was not feeling great about ours on Sunday afternoon after the soft Rams went up early and ended up getting the Niners, ended up getting the Packers on Sunday night, ended up getting the Browns and a rocking chair winner on Monday night. So I'm sitting at 26-14. My entry's been crazy. We've gone 4-1 twice, and we've gone 3-2 6 of the other 8 weeks. So just nice and steady. We're right within striking distance, 3.5 back of the idiot who's leading this thing. So we're going to try to keep it going. And I finally took the lead over Joe, so that means I'm batting leadoff today. And this is a really tough week because there are more teams on a bye this week than there have been any other week. There are 6 teams on a bye. We have fewer games. We have 3 double-digit spreads, so perilous everywhere. And I've gone back and forth on several games. There's a couple that I truly think that anything could happen. Either side could win. And the one that I'm going to go with, I have no problem being on Cincinnati this week. And I hope I'm not stealing one from Kmart. A few weeks ago, the Carolina Panthers were catching 12.5 or 13 at the LA Rams. What's happened since then? The Panthers have gone home and beaten Tampa Bay. The Panthers have gone on the road, have had a miracle comeback to go to overtime against Atlanta. They lose a heartbreaker in overtime. They're on the road again. Cincinnati just looked absolutely god-awful on Monday Night Football. I am willing to take complete advantage of that. The Bengals defense, they do lose one of their corners. Was it a torn Achilles or torn ACL, Kmart?
I don't even know. I was out trick-or-treating.
Oh, God, that's right. Jesus. So since he loses a corner, Hendrickson's been a little banged up, but this Bengals defense is still a major step up from what Carolina faced last week down in Atlanta, who can't cover anybody and can't get any pressure. I expect the Bengals to bounce back very strong, and I'm happy to get a little bit of line value and lay the 7 with Joe Burrow and the Bengals this week. Kmart, I want your take because the Bengals are typically your team that you pay a lot of attention to. Do you like this as a bounce back spot against a much, much weaker opponent?
Well, it's funny. On Monday, I wrote down a whole list of, games I'm gonna look at for this week. And one of them in there, I put down this game. And when the line opened at 8.5, I was like, that's a lot. And then I was like, you know what? I'm not even gonna overthink it. I'm just gonna kind of wait until this contest line comes out. But pretty much exactly what you said this morning. I was kind of reviewing that game, getting ready to talk about something tonight. Wasn't going to be the one I was going to discuss, but it was, one I had on, the in the back just in case. But yeah, I mean, only having to lay 7 look like shit. I share your sentiments as well. Panthers, gritty, should have won last week, but didn't. But I think it's just a not so fast. Chris says it the best. Trust the line, lay it. That's definitely one. If my team cannot find, a 5th, I'll probably say, hey guys, let's just not even think about it and throw in these Bengals.
Anyone else have any thoughts on either side of this one? Carolina covered 2 straight, scrappy. Definitely playing better. Give them credit. They would look like a dead team under Rule. And this new guy, Wilkes, has at least got him playing hard. PJ is what he is, but is this one where the Bengal or the Panthers covering train comes to a screeching halt?
Yeah, I don't know. For me, whenever you're laying a full touchdown, right, I think you want to be in a position where your team can sort of grind out that clock and not give the other team an extra possession. And the one thing that for me, it was a pretty, we touched on it. It was a very uninspired Cincinnati team on Monday. And is it Jamar Chase? Who knows? On a Mixon ran the ball 8 times for 27 yards as a team. 10 attempts for 3.6. They haven't been able to run the ball at all. So I always get a little worried when you look at sort of how a game is going to play out, unless you're thinking that this is like a 20-point spot, which certainly it could be. I mean, offensively, even without Chase, you still have, Higgins and Boyd, who have been proven, NFL wide receivers in this league. But it's like, you get the ball. I mean, Cincinnati gets the ball back with 5 minutes, nursing 10 points. It's going to go back to Carolina at some point. So I don't know. They still haven't right-sized their offensive line yet, and it would make me a little nervous. But certainly, I like the thought about getting embarrassed on Monday night and coming back and going home. And certainly they are capable of laying a big number against an overrated and overhyped Panther team right now.
The one thing I would say about the Monday night game, and yes, they didn't really show up. There was some stuff that happened early in the game where Myles Garrett just made plays to force fumbles, cause turnovers. I think that game is more of a credit to the Browns with at 2-5. I mean, that's why I played the Browns season on the line, right? At 2-5, you're at home on Monday Night Football. You absolutely have to have that game, and they played their best game of the season. So I think that was more of a play on the Browns, and the Bengals were just victim to being in a home run spot there for Cleveland. So I'm not counting that one against them maybe as much. I think the popular narrative this week will be something's wrong with them. Chase is out, and obviously he's the one that puts them over the top, but I think they can still be fine. All right, we'll move on. We have Joe from Vegas. Joe, thanks for making some time for us. How many chips you got in your pocket there, Dad?
2 purple ones.
There you go.
So, things are looking decent.
Decent. Right.
Yeah, so
Love
I have to
it.
go down and I'm going to shower real quick, change, and then go play some table games for a minute, and then we have a Top Golf event at 8 p.m. So hopefully going to get paid to drink for a minute and then go get paid to drink later.
How black are you going to get at Top Golf?
Well, there's a lot of important people there, so it really depends. Probably afterward, blacking is going to be inevitable, but during the thing I got to maintain.
What's your morning tomorrow? Because I've done 2 work trips to Vegas, and there's nothing more annoying than like 8 a.m. meeting the next morning after like the whole plan to go out. What's your morning tomorrow?
Well, it's SEMA. It's like the biggest automotive convention in the world. So I'm not working the booth. I'm not doing anything. I just got to be there around like 9 or 10. But they don't really give a shit if I roll in later. I'll just say, hey, I was looking at other booths. I don't know.
It's not bad.
Not bad at all.
Yeah.
So Joe, let's get a pick, Dad. So you coming off the tough week for you and Big Red. How you guys? What are you looking at to rebound here?
Bucks. That was the first one that caught my eye. I mentioned it on the podcast the other day. Got it at 2, but I bet it again at 3. I just think it's a horrible matchup for the Rams and that dog shit O-line. Fucking Chris Duke could play center for the Rams right now and probably be an upgrade. So I think Tampa Bay at some point's got to get right, and they got to cover a spread, right? So why not this week?
Interesting that the contest put that at 2.5 after that line did reach 3 for a couple days there.
Even better.
A little bit of buyback on the Rams, which is surprising to me. Chris, let's get you in here on your Rams. What do you got on this one? Right as we lose Chris's video.
Fuck the Rams. You would think they were the Super Bowl losers the way they're having this hangover. They're playing like shit. We faded them last week, Niner cock, and I like Joe's play. I don't know, these 2 teams, I was thinking to myself, they're both so scum. I just don't know if I don't even know if they're worth a contest pick. I'd rather take some scum that's catching more points, but sure as fuck don't have any faith in my Rams right now, Matthew.
Chris's Rams. This line would get severely affected if Cooper Kupp were to miss the game. I think I saw, was he no practice or limited practice today? Did anybody catch that?
He did some drills in the morning, but then he did not come out to practice in the afternoon.
How much is he moving a line, though?
I think a lot.
I
think it's like
a whole offense.
For that Rams team, yeah, for the Rams, I mean, yeah.
I don't think he's moving a line more than 2 points, if that.
I would say 1.5.
Yeah,
like
1.5,
shitty
right.
quarterbacks.
Never gives it. Yeah.
Shitty. I mean, what's his equivalent? Like a fucking league average quarterback moving a line? I don't know. Tweet Ralph. See what happens.
Yeah. I mean, Chris, he was your MVP last season, right? So do you think, I mean, he's got to be easily one of the more valuable non-quarterbacks that would move a line, right?
Yeah, I mean, but it goes to show you, wasn't Chase rookie of the year? He's like one of the best, and they don't even fucking move it at all when he goes out. So it's I don't know. A lot of these skill players are worth a lot less than you think.
I'm gonna Google it.
So,
I'm gonna Google it, Matthew.
Yeah.
Hold.
All right.
We could ask JM too. We could just JM or Cornegay and ask them.
Well, it's an interesting matchup because I think the Bucks have lost 6 in a row against the spread, and we all know how soft the Rams are, having to go play across the country in Tampa Bay. I mean, what are the Rams now? Are they 3-5? Are they both 3-5?
No, they're 3-4 because they already had their
The
bye.
Rams have had their bye. Okay, so the Rams can get back to 500. The Bucks are 3. Are the Bucks 3-5?
Bucks are 3-5.
Okay, so isn't this kind of a gotta have it spot for the Bucks, or maybe not because no one's running away with that division?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think they're too concerned about the Falcons maintaining, but I don't think they want to drop to 3-6. So it could be a similar thought you had on the Browns, at home.
I got the info on Cooper Kupp. Sorry not to throw you guys off, but they have him ranked. This website has him ranked as the 30th most valuable spread player in the NFL at 1.5 points.
How many quarterbacks?
Is that all including quarterbacks?
That includes
Or how many-
all players in the NFL.
All players. So I got to.
So how many non-quarterbacks are ahead of him on that list?
Fuck, I don't know, dude. It's like a tweet per guy, so it'd take me forever.
Oh, okay. I thought you had a list of the top 30.
I mean,
most
fuck.
okay.
They have Justin Fields at 2.5. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is I don't think Cooper Kupp's moving a line very much at all. I mean, obviously maybe half a point, and then there's going to be a bunch of fucking people that'll fade him because he's not playing. So that might move the line, but I don't think Vegas is going to factor in more than, like I said, a point and a half for Cooper Kupp.
Well, the point and a half is more valuable when it goes through 3. So if this line's 2.5 and Cooper Kupp were to miss the game, I mean, they probably 3.5.
Yeah.
Probably move it through the 3. So we'll see. People that are betting on this game, obviously keep an eye on that. I mean, the Rams have shown an ability to do very little outside of throw it to him. There was a lot of hype last week about Van Jefferson coming back. Did he even get meaningful snaps? I didn't see him.
It's going to be cool, too, when Matt Stafford takes over the NFL lead in interceptions this week, too.
Yeah, he did not have one last week, right?
Correct. Yeah, he's got 8, and Matty Ice has 9. So, barring any...
What's he doing these days?
I'll let you know when it's in Indianapolis again.
Yeah. I don't... He may have some free time to grab a beverage with you. So, yeah, Bucks is an interesting play. Extra rest. Does that matter at all, Joe? Coming off a Thursday game?
Potentially. I don't know. Nobody knows shit, man. It could factor in a little bit. It's not about the rest to me. It's about just the matchup of the Buccaneers defensive line versus the fucking Rams offensive line. And I think Stafford's going to throw 2 picks, and it may be close, but I think that TB12 finally covers the spread.
What do we usually have Stafford's interceptions prop at? Is it usually minus 150?
It's about minus 150. I bet it like minus 160 against the Niners, remember? Or it was like minus 130, and then we talked about it, and then Chris ended up firing it at minus 160. Okay. The first Niner game. We cashed
definitely worth a look.
Cashed that cock piece in the first quarter, so that was nice.
Definitely worth a look this week. I mean, the Rams can't run the ball for dick, so maybe that interception prop is a good one to look at. So, Joe, Tampa Bay, like that one. Chris Duke, I'm circed. 25-15. You're right there, 4.5 off the pace. Where are you looking?
I was
going to say Lions again.
I was going to say Lions, but watch. We'll get off them like Tommies. And we've been on twice, and they've broken hearts 2 weeks in a row. But I think we'll go with one. Well, Freck had Lions in it. But we also both had the New York Jets in our picks. I think they're scrappy. It was 13. I hope they made it 12.5 in the contest.
They did.
Good.
12.
12
flat.
12. Fuck yeah, dead number, bitch. So we'll take it. Jets look like shit. I don't know if you've noticed, but Zach Wilson sucks ass, especially MILF ass. And the Bills, what can you say? They should have won by 50, man. If Allen doesn't throw 2 picks in the second half there. They blow Packers out. Everyone saw it on prime time how easy it was for them to move it down the field. Free money. So we'll take the Jets and a bounce back home. Division dog. Before the bye week, it's a beautiful trend so far. Let's keep it going.
Well, that's poop. That's for sure.
That is poop. I mean, I was looking at that too. It's just hard to go against, what they're going to be going against. I mean, they looked like they knew what they were doing offensively with Breece Hall, but now with him out, the Patriots did exactly what you would think and hope, an intelligent defense would do without their best weapon. Elijah Moore is dead for all intents and purposes.
Doesn't exist.
Yeah, I mean, Zach Wilson might have worse numbers than Daniel Jones in the Giants offense as well. So it's just, man, that to me is just a stay away. Like it's always fun to say, okay, I'll take the points, but I feel like the Bills can flip, one pick six, 14-point swing and you're already covering. I mean, that's essentially what happened to Neil's bullshit Bears last week.
Yeah, and the Big Red Machine, Jared actually brought this one up to me too. I think he's leaning Jets. He sent me a text and said, "Hey, when was the last time a 5-3 team as in a division game was 12-point fucking home dogs?" And I was like, "That's a good point."
I mean, good luck. Only Chris would step in front of the Bills 2 weeks in a row. I think we can all agree on that. I just don't know where the Jets offense comes from. I mean, Kyle's right. The running game has completely dried up without Breece Hall. Look what happened to the Jets when the Patriots made them one-dimensional, and Zach Wilson's throwing up lollipops.
I mean, and if you look at the trade for James Robinson, it's like, I mean, on paper, I don't even know how to word this. Like it seems like, they're trying to do the right things, but fill the gap, but his yards per carry are like terrible. He's just a pound. Maybe he breaks one away, but overall he doesn't really move it. Michael Carter's a good, fantasy wise PPR guy. He can catch it out of the backfield, but he's also not big enough to take 20 carries. So I don't know, that offense is don't turn the ball over, and they got a shot to cover.
Well, you look at okay, how are you going to stay in a game against the Bills? The Packers kind of offered the blueprint, right? Like when you have sort of a limited offense, you run the hell out of the ball. You get good gains, 7, 8, 9 yards. You get first downs like the Packers did with Aaron Jones. You control the ball for a long time. And I don't personally see the Jets.
But Matt, how lucky were we to cover that game the other night?
Well, Matt, also
at the 5.
Yeah, Josh Allen threw 2 picks in the fucking red zone. How often is he going to do that? Especially against a fucking division team that he knows well. I mean, maybe Salah can fucking dial some shit up to confuse him, but I mean, highly doubtful. I don't know. Like I said, Jared leans one way, and I don't know. If he wants it, he can have it, but I'm not going to make an argument for the goddamn Jets.
Two blowouts, two pretty much blowouts last year. Buffalo won both obviously outright, like a 45-17 and then a 27-10 game.
Was that in week 18 though, Neil, the 27-10? I thought I looked at this a couple days ago. I wanted to see how they did as well.
It was week 18, yeah, it was the 27-10.
And I don't know. I mean, the Bills were probably playing for seeding, so maybe they had to start. But again,
Wilson threw for 87 yards that game.
Nice.
That's pretty good. Pretty decent.
Yeah, it's decent.
Oh man. All right. Kmart and Neil, I don't know who wants to speak on behalf of you guys. You can both get one. I don't know who wants to start.
I'll let Kmart go. I have a weird feeling that Kmart and I are going to be opposing on this one. So I want to say I'm going to let him go, and I'll let you know if we are.
I got a lot this week, but I think one of my favorites is that Vikings game. Okay. You got the revenge spot with Kirk Cousins coming home.
You like
So
that?
clearly, you got to take the commies plus 3.5, right? I can totally see Kirk doing something absolutely ridiculous because he doesn't seem to play well under pressure. Whether it's prime time or other situations, I can see him finally throwing up a brick. They were lucky to cover last week. They're 6-1, which I love for all my futures, but they're kind of in a fade spot for me. I don't think they're a real 6-1 team. So, man, I'm kind of looking at them and two other teams where I'm just going to kind of say F it and fade them, each and every week for a while because I don't think they're as good as their record is. So, I'm hoping the Vikings can kick a game-winning field goal, win this thing by 1-3, and get me the cover. But I'm not going to be surprised with what the Commanders have been doing, if they win this game outright as well. I like what they're doing offensively. They're doing just enough defensively as well, staying in ball games. And, yeah, Commanders plus 3.5.
So here's the so it's not like I'm not totally against, but here's the one thing that I thought was interesting when I looked at this game, and it's what came out just today, right? Dan Snyder's looking to come out and sell the team.
That guy's been a distraction for a decade, man.
And I agree with you, but I was listening. It wasn't Follow the Money. It was somebody else who was out in it was from VSiN that was out in Washington, and they said that they were amazed at the fact of how little last weekend Commanders, Redskins shit you saw around that town, right? With nothing else going on. There was just nothing. Like, I wonder if it's one of those interesting things where, like, now that he's selling, because I know that the narrative is nobody likes this guy. They're all ready for him to get out. He's been a disaster. Is there like this weird narrative where like people show up this week, like fans wise, and is there this weird narrative that they all of a sudden like the players and the team is going to react differently with this coming out? It's just it's a weird thing to happen, sort of, had to happen in the middle of the season where it's like everyone's going to be relieved that he is finally leaving, and this whole big massive distraction may.
He just said he's.
Or is it going to create, or is it just going to blow up a
for years?
Dude, yeah, he's been a piece of shit for years. That's not. I don't think this is now. Fucking thing. No,
and that's that exactly. You guys make my
the
point.
only thing that's changed is he's open to it. It's not like he said he's going to do it. Like he just finally said because of all the owners.
You don't do this. He's
coming out and saying F this guy, like he needs to get out of the league, and he's coming out saying, "Oh, well, I got juice on the commissioner, and all this. It's a mafia-run organization." No shit. Like you couldn't say anything that surprises anybody on this podcast.
Of course not. But I'm just saying, it's a weird spot that they could come out because it's like a relief that everyone has wanted this to happen, including Washington D.C. Just the fan base has wanted it.
Well, who gives a fuck? We're talking about the spread right now. We don't give a shit about the fan base.
But wouldn't you say that is a good thing for you? You think the players actually want this guy? Don't you think that's going to fire them up and it's a bet on reason for them? Not a bet off? I don't think it
fucking matters. I don't think it matters at all. The players are going to play for themselves no matter what. I think now they're like, oh, but it's not like every player's under contract forever. If they don't fucking like it, they can leave the Redskins and go sign somewhere else. And Dan Snyder ain't changing that.
Very weird. I'm just saying it's a very weird dynamic.
It was also weird when he got caught with fucking hookers and shit. So it's not like
That's not weird. That's normal. That's the NFL.
Yeah, I don't know. I think you're looking at we're trying to talk about a spread, maybe like a little bit of X's and O's, and now you're talking about the fucking fan base. Like, who gives a shit?
But I'm just talking about everything in general that this entails, right? Everything that is that this cascades downwards. From owner all the way down through to fan base.
I don't know, Neil.
How much? Okay, Neil. How much is Dan Snyder selling the team and now the fans carrying worth ATS?
Plus or minus 6.5. No, who the fuck knows? I don't know. Right? I don't know. It's just a weird. It's just one of those weird dynamics that you just don't see very often, right in the middle of a season.
I just don't know what effect that has on the players.
It goes from GM to coaching to decision making on the field to the players to the fans. It cascades all the way through. In some regard,
but I don't know if the players give a shit about. They just say as long as he pays me, I don't think they give a shit. Like
Exactly.
If he
And
died tomorrow, I don't think they'd give a shit.
Riverboat Ron doesn't give a flying fuck about that either. So, I mean, you think he's going to change his coaching style now? Fuck no, he doesn't give a shit.
Well, so Joe, I want to know your take on the pick, because you talked the other night on our recap how the Commanders have just been. I mean, you've been against them and they have won. You've been on them and they've lost. This is what do you think of this play on Washington with 3 and the hook?
Fuck.
Say no more.
Honestly, dude, I think I'm just befuddled, but I think it's a little bit baity. I think I would have made that spread 3 + 3, and there's a lot of fucking people and money on it, and I don't know. But I mean, it's the NFL, dude. Catching 3.5 at home, it's not a bad play in my opinion, but it's just hard to take. Like I say almost every week, if it wasn't the fucking Commanders, if it was a different helmet decal on the side there, I'm probably more inclined to do it. But yeah, it's definitely, yeah. I mean, I don't have a lean. Like I would lean Commanders, but gun to my head, that's what I would do.
I mean, I agree with Kyle that the Vikings are kind of in fade territory right now. I mean, that's what I fucking thought last week, Joe. We both played the goddamn Cardinals against them, and they just made too many mistakes to cover that spread.
Right. Yeah.
Tough one.
Yeah, tough one, but it happens.
The one thing you can say is that, Washington, they're going to get Chase Young back, not for this game, but pretty soon. Their D-line already gets a lot of pressure. They did cause Ellinger to fumble. They forced a Jonathan Taylor fumble last week. So, I mean, God, if they can just create a couple turnovers, I think they'll be in great shape. But Minnesota, I don't think they're that good, but their record is that good. So they're a hard team for me to figure out too.
Right. Yeah. And so I think that's why I think it's a little bit baity, because a lot of people look at the, 6-1 team playing the fucking, you only got to lay 3.5. They got to win by 4. Oh, that's easy. A lot of squares.
But hey, let's also say that Washington's got some momentum right now. I mean, that game-winning drive against, Joe, you remember that because that fucked you royally, being on the Colts. So, Kyle, how much of that is part of maybe liking Washington as well? That they just had this crazy rally for comeback. They've won both games. Heineke has started as underdogs. I mean, he's kind of got them back to life a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with Joe. To at least touch on a point he made, it does feel a little square doggy. But how often do you see McLaurin get excited?
Yeah, they were fired up.
If you're ever going to talk about a team rallying around a player, it's going to be something like that. Heineke, however the hell you say his name, Heineken, he started before this season. He started in a playoff game, and they know him, they like him. Who knows? Maybe they thought he should have been given the shot this year and not gone after broken dick Wentz. So there are just so many things, but it's more of a play on. It's just their defense is good. Their offense can do just enough. And again, Vikings 6-1. Hell, I hope they win, but it's just I don't think they're as good as their record is. Their one loss was just being dismantled by Philly. Not saying that Philly's not good. They're undefeated. They're great, but I don't know. Maybe I'm way off.
Yeah, dude, I think Terry McLaurin's such an underrated receiver too. He's borderline top 5-6 in the NFL, and
one wants to trade for him in goddamn fantasy, though, Joe.
No one cares.
Nobody gives a fuck. Nobody
exactly.
Gives a fuck. I'm just saying in general, I think it's pretty admirable the fact that Terry McLaurin's this fucking good with assholes throwing to him.
Yeah.
Like if he was on the fucking Packers, what kind of numbers would you put up?
Well, that's an interesting game. I wonder which side will be more bet in that one in the contest. I could see a lot of people being on Minnesota for being 6-1. I could also see a lot of people thinking 3.5 at home. I'll take
I
that.
wouldn't.
So
I wouldn't be surprised if it's top 5 consensus. If Washington Redskins are consensus cock.
Neil, give us something you're looking at.
All right, so I really don't like much this week, but I wanted to say when it first came out, the one that I was going to take, and I looked at it even before last week games, just because of spot what's happening. And I wish Chris was still on because this is his dead number special, but I'm thinking about the other side. Like, I have no problem laying 5.5 with Bill Belichick at home against a rookie.
I almost did Colts. You were right.
I could have sworn you were going to. I really thought you were going to do Colts again. And it has nothing to do with what happened last week. It's simply a matter of this is the Bill Belichick special, right? This is the guy who's 13-0 straight up at home against rookie QBs. This is the guy who just dominates any team that's going to be one-dimensional. I think you end up seeing the same thing, come Sunday, where it's not going to be pretty. This is going to be an ugly game.
Be careful. Be careful, because I had the exact same fucking thoughts the other night with the Bears. The exact same thoughts, and now we have.
I agree, right?
A running team going. I mean. But
all right, so and then and I get that. So then also added to that, right? I don't like the fact, right? Indy gets rid of Naeem Hines and sends him off, right? So sort of that check down.
But they got Zach Moss, baby.
Yeah, great. Taylor didn't practice, right? And this is just Taylor didn't practice today. Like, if anything happened, and he's gimpy, has been all season. If something happens there and they don't become one-dimensional, they can't even say that they're one-dimensional anymore. Like, this thing can get real ugly real quick, in my opinion. So I think it's going to be sloppy. This is certainly not a play on New England's offensive capabilities. I think this is just one of those Pats are at home facing a rookie, facing a first-time quarterback coming out, and I just think this is the Bill Belichick special, in my opinion. So, Pats was probably as of right now, Pats will be my pick.
So I mean, probably the main reason why I didn't talk about the Colts is because I don't know what's happening with Jonathan Taylor.
Right.
Like, I'm not going to talk about a game where, as Joe points out, why are you talking about it if you're not going to play it? If their biggest offensive piece isn't going to be playing. I think he is, because he came back in the game last week. I think it's just load management. Is he going to have a full workload? Probably not, but I don't think he needs to, because Patriots laying 5.5. Again, another team I don't think is very good. They have a good defense, but I don't know, man. Like, that's going to be another fun one where I'm sure you're going to want the Pats, and I'm going to be saying let's just run away and hide, because I have that, as I only have 2 games ahead of that on the list that I have right now.
I lean Patriots as well. I texted Jared again. I'm like, dude, I fucking hate to say it, but this is I feel like this is a Patriots spot too. But
do we think Reich might be job on the line?
Yes.
If they lose?
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
So that I wonder if he even still has the team. I mean, the Ryan benching was interesting, to say the least, for lack of a better word. They do trade a running back away, a guy that they do use. I wonder if he still even has the team. Like, would they rally around it? Like, if it's his last stand, would they rally around him?
Yeah,
I mean, they've been better as a dog for sure.
Like,
Hines scored last week.
Yeah, he scored last week, but I mean, for how they said they were going to use him, like, he's been such a disappointment. And for all the games and time that JT's missed, they're not using him. I thought they did him a service getting him to a team who's actually going to use him, and probably really fucking well. And, hell, even for Zach Moss, it's good for him just to get out of that spot. I don't know if he's going to back up Taylor, because they got Deion Jackson there, but I don't know how much, the head coach had in saying, oh, we don't use, hey, let's trade this guy away.
Don't you think it's more problematic though if you have a guy that is sort of thought to be in Hines a dynamic playmaker and someone can be at. And if you don't know how to use him, isn't that problematic? And like I get maybe not so much with Matt Ryan. Like I don't really remember Matt Ryan in his career like checking down to backs so much, but it's like I thought that if there was ever a time that you needed a guy like Hines to have a check down back, it's when you have a brand new quarterback and a quarterback that's not even like a highly touted, blue chipper coming out, right? No one thought that was going to be able. Like if you can't make Hines work with Ellington, which like to me that should have been your game plan. Like
Ellington
been ready for that.
Hines work, or is Hines just not making it work himself? Like he has snap share, but he's not getting looks. So whose issue is that? Because I mean, he's had one good year, and for the past 2 or 3 seasons, all you hear about is we're going to give Hines the ball more, and it doesn't happen. So if they're trying to, and he's still not getting there, do you really think that's on coaching or more on him, or a little of both? So that's why I think
you can hand. I mean, it's a running back. You can hand him the ball if you want to.
Why would they hand him the ball when they have Taylor?
Again, you have a beat up Taylor. I also thought it was just kind of a weird spot that you're going to say if you're in this sort of predicament where you have a beat up Jonathan Taylor and you're going to say, oh, we're going to get rid of his backup.
All right, let's stop talking about fucking Indianapolis Colts running backs. Who gives a shit? We're talking about the game.
We figured you missed Indy, Joe. I knew you missed Indy.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's Pats. It's Pats. And again, it's a Belichick play that this is Belichick's spot to keep them to, I would be shocked if the Colts – I wouldn't be surprised if the Colts scored double digits. And if they do, it's probably the Pats fuck something up on offense and give them a short
Well, Mac
field.
Jones had a pick 6 called back last week. He doesn't look good right now either. Him and Zach Wilson were trying to outdo each other.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So good luck laying on a decent sized number with Mac Jones, but I don't know. I don't think they like Mac Jones personally, but a couple other games of note. I think the Seattle-Arizona game is really interesting. I don't know what to do with Arizona, and I don't know at what point you just declare you watch Seattle and you just be like, wow, they're actually a solid team against everything that anyone predicted going into the season. Their quarterback doesn't turn it over. Their coach is getting a lot out of a roster that a lot of people thought was terrible. The rookie running back is making a difference. That's a really interesting game. You got low-hanging fruit with teams like the Chargers and the Packers laying short numbers on the road against perceived bad teams. Really, really interesting week 9. You got the Raiders off getting shut out.
That's what I was saying is we got to talk about the Raiders. That's another one that's probably making it in our contest just because out of fucking spite and ignorance and stupidity, we will fucking fire the Raiders after getting shut out as home or road faves. Most likely, what's it in contest? 1.5 or 1 or 2?
1.5.
1.5.
Word up, Raider cock.
Back-to-back weeks, Joe, that you're taking the team of the city you're visiting, though.
Yeah, I don't think
that's fun.
Are you getting enamored being within the culture of the city you're visiting?
No, I don't think I've seen a single Raider jersey. It's everybody else.
Yeah, I don't know about that one. I want to bet on the Raiders after the shutout loss, but the Jaguars are kind of I think they're better than their record. I don't know how much that matters. And I think the Raiders, Carr's playing terrible. They looked good in Kansas City. That's it. Do the Raiders have 2 wins?
Yes.
Are the Raiders 2 wins against the Broncos and the Texans?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. 2-5, 0-4 away. But this wasn't a bad offense, right? Outside of last week and just laying that egg, this hasn't been a bad offense.
And is Waller dead? Like anybody
Waller
knows
is dead.
Waller? Is he just like not into football anymore? He's just back on the drugs or what?
He got paid and he's probably checked out.
Yeah, well, I mean, shit, he got more money
season full of rehab. All right, everybody, keep an eye on the Twitter. We'll tweet out everybody's plays, the chart with everybody's plays over the weekend. So good luck in week 9, everybody. You're going to need it. It's a tough week with not a lot of games, a few double-digit spreads. We didn't even talk about the Chiefs laying a big number against the Titans. We didn't talk about Thursday night. I mean, anybody else tempted to just say fuck it and lay it with Philly tomorrow against one of the worst teams in the league without 2 receivers and with a defense that just got hammered a million times by Derrick Henry on Sunday?
I'll play Texans money line.
Oh, I thought Chris Duke left, but
Good luck with that.
yeah,
His phone died.
yeah. No, I mean, I'm with you, Matthew. I'm with you. I mean, that's the easy play, right? I don't know. We'll see.
Should be. Should. We love that word. All right, everybody. Bet poop. Good luck. We'll see you Sunday night.
Enjoy Vegas, Dad.
I will.
Later.